Well, a very, 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 very funny topic, but it is, of course, a strike, and apparently everyone supports it. Apparently. So yes, we are. So yes, we are. We are talking about, of course, the Hollywood strike. This I saw, and I was like, "What? Are you absolutely joking me?" The majority of Americans support striking writers and actors over studios. Gallup poll finds. Just straight away, because I know Andre, you got to leave in a minute. Let's get your thoughts on this.
You're muted, Andre.
Oh dear, he's gone.
That or he meant he had to step away for a minute. That could have very well been what he meant.
Oh yeah, that's what he means. So
okay.
Well,
I'll speak up first. I'll say this much.
You can speak it.
Like, look, outside of people that I know personally, and I do know that there's the people that are being hurt are like the below the line folks. I feel bad for them. I don't care about the actors. I don't care about the studios. I have very little care for the writers. I mean, some of them I do care about, but like for the most part, none of them have proven that any of them are worth the kind of money that they're fighting over right now. Again, it's so silly because I'm sure most of the actors that don't work regularly already had other jobs, but whatever. It's just to this point. I also saw a script doctor comment on this very poll. He was like, "This is not representative of the actual probably majority of the people in America." Because it's like basically the reason I started out like that is because he's well aware that most of us don't care, and he's pretty sure at least another quarter of us feel like good. They don't deserve any of this shit. Let them stay on strike at this point because the movies have sucked. And TV has sucked. So he's not oblivious to that fact either, right? But then he also points out that this is a very limited pool that they pulled here. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This is, there is no way in hell this is right by any stretch of the imagination. Culture, what do you think?
I think they're wishing or trying to wish something into existence. Nobody freaking likes the writers or the actors or any of them right now. They haven't liked them for a long time. They've produced an awful lot of garbage. Not all of them, again, but the people that are the most vocal and most visible are the people that end up in front of the cameras, not behind them. And so there are a lot of people that they don't appreciate the material. I would say that the Gallup poll was probably weighted to just do people in Los Angeles. I can't imagine anybody outside of LA, falling on the side of Hollywood here, right? Though at least the writers and the actors. But look, everybody has a point in this strike to a certain extent, but I don't buy this at all. I think this was completely manipulated in order to get this result because they want to put pressure on the on the studios.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, they say here, look, it was conducted August 1st to the 23rd, found Americans sympathize more with television and film writers than with television and film production studios. So it's not even a real question. By a staggering 72% to 19%. Sympathy for television and film actors is nearly as high at 67%, while 24% side with studios. So it's literally going, well, the question is literally, who do you sympathize with most? Not, do you support the strike? Whereas actually, if you were to say, do you care about any of these people? Most people, and again, most people in the real world, just be like, fuck no. I don't care about any of these people remotely.
Which was my point, yeah.
Yeah, this is an absolute joke.
Like, if you ask somebody, do you care if like garbage workers go on strike? I am sure most of America would be like, well, what do they want? And be like, well, they want fair pay for fair hours, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, they do a lot of hard work. They deserve it. You ask that same person, do you think actors going on strike is a good thing? They'd be like, why? Because they want this and that and the other that they don't already have and blah, 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 blah. Well, don't they make millions of dollars already? And that's the way most people see actors. Now, granted, I will point out that most actors don't make $1 million a movie and all that kind of shit. That is just true. But they also make a hell of a lot more money doing nothing but playing pretend, standing around all day in a dress, like Rachel Ziegler pointed out, than said garbage worker who is out there literally doing physical labor, or sewer worker, or, you know, whatever maintenance worker of the, you know, that goes on strike or whatever for a union for a city or something like that. You know what I mean? There's a large gap there between, like you just said, between people who would give a shit and think that people deserve that, as opposed to people who are just like, yeah, no, they're adult children. Fuck them. Like, you know, like,
playing make believe.
Yeah, it's the same thing with sports. You know, like
same thing.
It's the same thing with baseball, basketball, football, any of those things. Because baseball went on strike that time 10, 15 years ago or whatever it was. And it actually might have been a little bit more than that. And it pretty much killed baseball for years. They still haven't recovered. The NBA still hasn't recovered. Hockey still hasn't recovered from their strikes. So the amount of strikes that Hollywood has gone through in the last, I don't know, 30 years, people just like, oh, another one. Right? Because it doesn't even affect their daily lives. More people are affected by a basketball strike than they are the TV actors or writers or movie actors or writers going on strike.
The late night talk shows, they've been off the air for how long? No one cares. No one gives a.
No, now they're just ripping us off. Did you see that?
I know. Oh, well, we could absolutely write. No, you can't write your own jokes. You're dog shit.
We can rival YouTube with this. You'd watch. We're gonna do what they do. No, because you're disingenuous assholes. Nobody cares about you.
Yeah, and they don't have they don't have a legitimate, you know, an actual thought between themselves, which isn't, you know, sort of written on down from on high. So you know what you're getting is just disingenuous garbage and towing a line from some perspective.
Like, that's one thing I'm very happy with here, because there are some projects I was looking forward to that I worry may not see the light of day. I'm going to ask you, Mr. H, afterwards, if you know the status of some of them. But if there's one casualty I hope to see here, it's those late night talk shows, which over the last few years have revealed themselves to be nothing but pure propaganda outlets. And that's really not something we need. It's basically a marketing outlet for the Hollywood studios, a propaganda outlet for the government, and beyond that,
what was that
for the music industry?
What was that one that had the? What was that one that had the vaccine dance on?
Let's do it.
Fucking hell, man.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
No, David Letterman
not Jon Stewart. It was that guy who used to be on Stewart.
No, it was Colbert who had it. Actually,
Colbert. Thank you, Colbert.
Yeah,
it was Colbert who did that.
And that's the thing. David Letterman, Johnny Carson never would have done this kind of crap. Hell, I don't even think Leno. See, Leno was like as pure as the driven snow. Like his stuff was so safe that I think he would have doubled over in his chair if somebody would have suggested that COVID sketch with the dancing syringe. I think he'd have been like, you know, we really can't be separating America like this. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he's someone that appreciates common ground. He just wants to get along with most people, to be fair.
Yeah, you know why? Because he's smart enough to know that America is like a bi-party nation. And if he offends the proponents of one party, he instantly loses half his audience.
Yeah.
Fear good old capitalism. He can't afford to let whatever personal opinions he may have shine through too much.
But I've been running a poll during this podcast right now. 175 votes support the strike. 24% says yes. 76% says no. So it's literally the reverse of what their poll is.
Well, and I think that's what Script is saying. Sure, you poll people on the coasts. Sure, there's a lot of people who are probably, you know, on the New York side of things, the LA side of things. Of course, they're going to support this. Yeah. But you ask anybody from Middle America if they give two shits about if Angelina Jolie gets paid an extra $1 million or whatever for something. No, they don't care. they really don't even care about this AI nonsense.
No,
Because as
no,
far as
most
they're
people just like
concerned, you
read
could
it
probably
rather.
get something better out of it. That's the thing. You ask most people in our chat, they'll say the same thing.
Mm.
Shit, most AI programs can probably write and act better than most of these individuals anyway.
Yeah. And I proved that by using ChatGPT to write the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and it understood and got it better than what we actually got.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
It's also sadly not at all surprising. That's a tragedy of it.
Mm. Well, I mean, I titled this episode "The Strike That Ends Hollywood." What do we think? What do we think the likelihood is that this strike will continue into 2024? And if it does, let me finish. There's a tagline to this. Is
I
that
was thinking,
if it does, how much damage that is going to do, and how bankrupt these studios are going to be, that they will then have to use AI.
I don't know if they'll have to use AI because the problem with AI is that it's still not quite like I think even the audience will start to call out like I'm not going to go see something that my kid can make on his computer at home. Right? They're going to have a problem with that, and the audience that does go to movies do like real actors. They like real effects. You know, they like decent stories. And AI still has issues because all AI is going to do is spit you out something similar to something else. You want to know why that sequel trilogy you had AI spit out, Nick, was probably good? It's because it's literally going off of what was in the first 6 films, and that's it. That's why.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just it. Is AI is simulated. It's not really creating anything. You still need a creative force behind something. You know, like that. And I don't think
stuff as well.
Yeah, and I don't think people are going to accept AI driven material as much as the studios think they will. And I think what we'll see on the other end of this is a lot of what we saw at the other end of the 88 strike, which was probably one of the biggest, worst strikes that they had out of Hollywood that we've ever had. And what we got out of that was basically that independent revolution. That was where, you know, movies like Reservoir Dogs and stuff come out of, and the independent, because they didn't have movies for a while, so they started buying up independent features. Now they've started already with foreign features, right? They move it in some foreign shows and foreign movies, but then the next step is hopefully going to be independent, and that might give us a new wave of directors and voices in Hollywood, and it will make the older voices in Hollywood have to step up their game. Because that's basically what happened is once you had somebody like Tarantino drop Pulp Fiction and you had Robert Rodriguez and those guys out there making movies for next to nothing, like Robert Rodriguez can make a movie for $10, right? Like, I'm not even being I'm not even exaggerating that much. I mean, this guy can make a movie for nothing. And if somebody can do that and the way he does it, and you got that Creation movie coming out from Gareth Edwards right there, that's pretty much like that movie for nothing now. Right? Somebody only spending a few $1,000s to a couple $1 million on a movie back then, doing that level of work, right? So it could happen, hopefully, but it all depends on how long these things last, who gets hurt by it, what gets canceled, and what the studios learn on the other end of this. Like Barbie and some other things sent some mixed messages, I'm sure, to the studios. So we'll have to wait and see how that and a few other things pan out here. We really need like Marvels to fail, or otherwise we're
yeah. Well, what do we think to last into 2024? I reckon that's highly likely now, given.
I think it's already been decided. I'm telling you right now, as the studio heads get together today to actually talk about it, I feel like it's a fait accompli. They will not be back to making films until 2024. I don't see it. I don't see it happening any other way. There's no room for it. And it's not like they're going to be able to gen up productions again. I mean, everything is at a standstill. Now you've got to reschedule catering, costumes, you name it. I mean, there's a lot going on here. So there you go.
Yeah. Andre, 2024, when do you reckon it'll end?
I don't know. 2004 is 2024. That's still a long ways off, man. I mean, then we're talking about the strike lasting
It's only 3
as
months.
long as it already has, or even longer than it already has. Is it possible? Sure. But I don't know that. I mean, I think that the studios, I think are going to be like, you know what, fuck them. We can manage the rest of the year. I agree that I think that they have decided from that point of view that now is the time to really make an impact here. But I don't know that the writers are going to tolerate that, because I hear more and more dissent from within the writers union, that there is disagreement among the writers, that the Writers Guild are actually protecting their interests. So we'll see how long the writers will be there before there is so much pressure from the writers that they will come to some kind of agreement here. I don't know. I think that unless something changes, this absolutely can last until 2024. But I think there's a more than 50% chance that something can change in the Writers Guild between now and then, which ends it sooner.
Nick, closing thoughts?
I called this. I don't know. It was maybe a month ago or something. I thought that this was going to go to the end of the year into next year for sure. I definitely see that being the case. I mean, the studios, you know, obviously, I feel like they want a resolution to this and they want to get projects going back, get them all back up and going. But I also feel like they're in a place where they're like, we don't have to. We're not spending any money right now. Let's take a step back. Let's, you know, figure things out, that sort of thing. And the little people on the writers and actors side who really don't get paid that much money, and all the other workers in the industry, I mean, they're the only ones that are hurting out of this whole deal. But they literally have no power. It's the union leads. It's all the big wigs that aren't really hurting money wise. So it's like playing a, you know, blink game or something. You know, who's going to blink first, the actors and writers or the studios? And I don't see the studios budging, and the people that are in charge over the writers and actors, you know, they're stubborn enough to just let it drag out, and they're obviously not thinking about the little person either on their side. So they'll drag it out, you know, all through next year. I don't think this thing I don't think this will get resolved, if it ever gets resolved. You know, maybe Hollywood and the studios go a completely different direction, say fuck all the actors and writers. You know, we'll do something completely different. But I don't see this getting resolved, if it is resolved with them, until you know, early to mid next year.
Yeah,
agreed. I think this is gonna go on for a while.
Agreed. Yeah, I share your sentiment now.